Hello, everyone. We will start in about 5 minutes. So please, to those who are watching YouTube and Facebook Live, please share the link to your friends and colleagues so we can all learn together. Thank you. So, hello again, everyone. I am Herschel Lagi, Account Manager of NafilaWeb. Thank you for joining us today, especially those who are joining us via YouTube and Facebook Live. We are doing this series of webinars in preparation for our event in April, which is the Moodle Philippines 2021 Virtual Conference. And so I would like to encourage everyone to please visit our site. You may find the link on YouTube and Facebook Live comment box. So please register and join the courses so you will be able to earn Moodle Peso. So Moodle Peso are being used to exchange gifts and exciting prizes. So let's start this webinar with an invocation followed by the Philippine National Anthem.
oceans rise and thunders roar. I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flow. Thou will be still, you, oh God. I will be still, know you, oh God. I will be still, know you, oh God.
So, Web is an open source technology advocate, and our main services revolve around the platforms for the education sectors. We offer Nexus School Information System and Moodle Learning Management System, and we are one with the goal empowering educators to improve our world. So, we believe that reporting is very important to all organizations. That's why today we have a very important guest, Mr. Adam De Leon Klecheski. He's the channel sales executive for the APAC region of EesySoft. Originally Filipino-American, he started working with EesySoft in Amsterdam 3.5 years ago and moved back to the Philippines 3 years ago to lead the EesySoft efforts in the region. He's an avid techie and loves to explore how tech solutions can solve modern-day issues and is also a big proponent of an active lifestyle. In this presentation, he will explore how EesySoft helps institutions around the world and specifically in the Philippines with their online learning. So EesySoft helps you measure and track how your users are using the LMS and your third-party tools. You can launch a campaign targeted to encourage usage of a specific tool. It also has a messaging tool which enables you to display custom messages anywhere in your LMS. There's also a support within the system which allows you to provide support to your faculty and students in the moment of need. If you will switch from one LMS to another, you will be able to track the faculty and students' usage of the new LMS. So I know you are very excited for this webinar. So let's start. Hello, Sir Adam. Good afternoon. And thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Herschel. Nice to see you again. Nice to talk to you again. How are you? It's been, I think, 2.5 years since we met each other in Butuan at the event.
Yes,
thank you so much for having me, and thank you, the rest of the Nafila Web team, to all of those participants who may be watching right now via, Facebook Live, and what's the other one?
YouTube Live, sir.
YouTube Live. Great. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, I'm really excited to get into it. I guess, thank you for the introduction as well. should I go ahead and get started with my presentation?
Yes, sir, sure. You can go ahead.
Great. So before I start, I just want to mention to anybody in the audience right now, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you would like to inquire about, please feel free to leave any comments or any of those things within the appropriate space. So whether that's YouTube Live, Facebook Live, please feel free to comment, and I would love to answer your questions. This presentation most likely will be me talking for the next 50 minutes. So I would love some audience engagement if you guys are willing to share any questions or anything that you may have that might be of interest. So with that, let me go ahead and share my screen and we can kick off the presentation. So I hope you guys can share, you can see my screen, and I'll just assume it's working well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Herschel, please feel free to interrupt me at any time if there are any questions, and if you could keep an eye out on the comments, I would really appreciate that.
Yes,
So
sir.
with that, thank you so much. With that, I want to begin discussing EesySoft. What do we do, firstly? What do we do? How do we help institutions here in the Philippines? And how do we help institutions around the world create world-class online learning environments? Now, I think this is especially relevant nowadays because everybody is online. But here within the Philippines, we just went into another lockdown. So even more reason for institutions here to adopt a online learning-centric approach. Now, how do we do that? How do we help facilitate this? First, I want to start talking about some of the institutions that we work with in the Philippines: De La Salle University, UST, Jose Rizal, Mapua. Now, all of these institutions have been using EesySoft for some of them for the past 6 months, some of them over a couple of years. And around the world, we have over 2.5 million students and faculty members using EesySoft. So what do we actually do? To break it down very simply, we really want to help engage institutions to help them drive digital transformation. What does that mean? That means we start by actually understanding how the current LMS is being used. And we do that by providing reports on usage, tool usage of the different tools within your LMS, within Moodle. That can range from forums to quizzes, anything of that sort. And as well, providing different reporting options to help the people making decisions. Let's say you're at a university and you want to understand, how many of your instructors or teachers are using the forums tool, which is a great tool to help engage your students. Well, we actually have that data within our reports. So that's step one, in our opinion, in our process. So step one, understand. Step two is actually to take action. So now that we have this information, we know how many students or faculty members are using certain tools, we want to actually help engage them or help push them towards a certain direction. How do we do that? Well, we do that with in-application messages. That means we can create and customize messages that are displayed within the Moodle environment, which can be targeted towards specific user groups. That can be, for example, instructors who haven't used the quiz tool, or students who haven't been engaging in the forums tool. So in that way, we're actually taking action on the data that we have access to. Now, with all of these messages, now I'm guessing as well for any of you audience members who work at universities or schools, you also may do training sessions. So all of these efforts, training sessions, the messages that we're talking about, maybe emails with certain information, all of that is with the goal of actually making an effort, making a change to the behaviors of our instructors or our targeted user groups. In that case, we want to actually know, hey, how are these efforts doing? Were these efforts positive in terms of how we've been able to increase the usage of certain tools? And we can actually do that. We can see that whether or not there's any return on investment, so to speak, with these outreach efforts with our campaigns functionality. It's another one of our pieces within the EesySoft solutions. So those are some of the three pieces so far. The last piece is supporting the user. We have a 24/7 role-sensitive and context-sensitive support dashboard. What that means is that, let's say I'm an instructor and I just logged on to our Moodle environment for the first time, and I'm navigating within a certain tool, let's say the quiz tool. If I click on our support dashboard, I will automatically get suggested help for that specific tool for my role as an instructor. So that's the very quick, let's say, just a very quick summary of what we do in EesySoft. Let's dive in a bit more. So measuring LMS usage and tool adoption, we are able to gather data and information in terms of the usage of the different tools. Now we can track and measure the impact of certain messages and also compare adoption across different courses. So that can be really useful when it comes to understanding, let's say one of our instructors is using the quiz tool a lot, but other instructors are not. You can actually engage that instructor in order to have them pass on certain information to the other instructors to kind of help promote that tool specifically. This can also be really useful for upper management, higher management within our university to help them show the different tools that are being used and that, you know, these tools are useful. Because a lot of the times the institutions we work with, they say that the management want to know how much their tools are being used. Of course, we invest a lot of money and time and effort into these things. How are they actually being used? Now, when it comes to messages, now that we've understood the usage, we can actually create messages, customized messages to specific audiences. That can be, for example, instructors who have just joined our university, who may not be familiar with the tools. You can place these messages anywhere within the LMS, target specific users, and we also have 100 plus. We have a lot of different pre-made messages that have certain goals or certain, let's say we want to inform our users about tuition payment deadlines, or let's say they have to sign up for courses. You can use these tools to engage them in that way. So past just the adoption of the LMS, you can also use these messages to engage our users to do things outside of our directly LMS. So let's say COVID-19 safety precautions, we can use our messages to deploy and communicate those to our users as well. Now, I mentioned understanding the ROI of our efforts. That is done with our campaign functionality. In this case, we really take the focus of a goal in mind. Let's say the goal is increasing the usage of the assignments tool or the quizzes tool. We can actually make that the end goal, and then we use our campaigns, target certain users, actually deploy messages to help them understand how to use these tools, and then see the impact. So we can actually track over time, is this adoption happening? Are more instructors using these tools? That's our campaign functionality. The last one is our support. Now, for anybody who's in support, now actually I would love to hear, let me just pose this question to the audience. What is your role in your university? Are you more on the instructor side? Are you more on the educational design side, so helping create courses? Or are you more on the support side, as in you help support the users when it comes to issues with the LMS? I would love to hear from you guys. If you can just drop it in the comments. Support, or are you ed tech related, or are you an instructor, or whatever you may be at the university? Now, when it comes to support, we have this 24/7 role-sensitive and context-sensitive support dashboard, providing out-of-the-box help on how to use Moodle, but also you're able to create your own articles and place your own institution-specific knowledge items within the support tab. That can be really useful when it comes to understanding. A lot of universities have their own content, their own materials, You want to make sure you use the words, you want to make sure you use the style of your university, including the branding, the colors, everything like that. We can actually integrate into this support dashboard. And we're also able to, for all you support folks out there, we're also able to route a support request to the relevant help desk. That can be really useful when it comes to, let's say, exam period, when you may have a lot of support requests coming in. We're actually able to route that to the specific support request support desk. And we provide this email along with that support request containing information around the user and where, in fact, in the LMS, did they trigger this message from. So this has been really useful in reducing the time to resolution of support requests and in taking a load off of your support team, allowing them to focus on other issues. So, in summary, what do? We help you understand the current usage of your LMS, help you communicate to users on essential functions that can range from understanding how to use the LMS, but also things like tuition payment deadlines, course signups, or let's say announcements about shutdowns to the university or COVID-19 restrictions or protocols. You can also streamline workflows and outreach and provide enhanced support knowledge. So that takes me through the general summary. What do we do at EesySoft? How do we help universities? Now, the real goal of this presentation, of this webinar, is to help you understand how do we create world-class online teaching and learning. And to help us do that, we are utilizing this wide education survey. So this is a survey of about 5,000 people, 4,000 students, 500 faculty members from different institutions, engaging them, asking them about their opinions on remote learning. Now, this is really interesting when it comes to the modern, how people are using these tools in the modern day, because of course every institution is different in how they use the LMS, but all the students and the faculty members have their own opinions about how this is being used. So what insights can this survey give us that we can apply to EesySoft to help us create this world-class online teaching and learning? So the first point I want to make is around the satisfaction of online learning. Now, from this graph, you can see that there's the learning is in blue, teaching is in red. And the question is, are you satisfied with the remote learning that replaced face-to-face? So 55% are satisfied in the learning side, 77% are satisfied on the teaching side. So obviously instructors are more satisfied than their students. But even more, let's say, important is who is dissatisfied. Now 35% on the learning side, so most likely the students, are dissatisfied with the teaching. So that's almost a third are not happy with their learning online. On the other hand, only 21% of teachers are dissatisfied. So there's a gap here. We're trying to bridge that gap. How do we have students more satisfied with their online learning? One of the other insights from this survey is around the effectiveness of online course elements. Online course elements include lectures, course materials, discussions, so that would be forums within the application. So as we can see here, discussions are seen as the least effective among faculty, and live lectures, discussions are seen as the least effective on the student side as well. So obviously there's a little bit of a gap as well in terms of how the students and the faculty members perceive their online systems. How can we kind of take an effort in order to bridge this gap? So one of the ways is to understand the actual usage first. So by understanding usage, here we have a screenshot from our insights page. This is basically the dashboard that we provide with the LMS usage data. And we can first start by understanding the current usage. That'll give us some good insight into how the tools are being used. Now, in this case, form usage using the EesySoft dashboard. And then from there, you can actually target the users who are not using the tool, for example, instructors who are not using forums. You can target them with a message like this. This is an EesySoft message around how to use forums with a video to the Moodle page about how to use this. Now, this is viewable directly from the LMS. This is a great way to promote the usage of forums for those who are not using it, but also to help them understand how to use it. You can also help support users and facilitate change with our support dashboard. In this case, providing extra information and support help for how to use the tools. This is great for institutions that have just recently adopted Moodle, but also for institutions that may have new instructors using these tools. In this case, they can get dashboards that are also personalized to an extent to their role. So in that way, let's say you're a new instructor, you can have your institution, if you use EesySoft, can create a special dashboard just for your first year instructors or for your new instructors who have just been using this tool for the last week or so, let's say. So that's a great way to kind of start with this process of creating a world-class online teaching environment. Now, the next point I want to make is again on the effectiveness of online course elements. So we want to make sure that the materials that we're putting online are effective and that they're being well received by our audience. How can you do that? Well, one example is using video in Moodle. So this is an example of a message that we placed in our Moodle environment about using video conferencing. So as we can see here, video is a powerful tool to use in Moodle courses. It explains a bit how you can use it and why you should use it. And then we have a link for more information in the case that the user wishes to learn more. Let's look at another insight from this Wiley Education Survey. So this is all about setting expectations of what a student and faculty member are putting out online. So the question is, I knew what was expected of me, / I felt I set clear expectations. So on one hand, you can see that 91% of the faculty members felt that they set clear expectations, but only 57% of students felt that they knew what was expected of them. So this is a massive gap, in fact. It's about a 33% gap, a third. So obviously students don't feel like they know what is expected of them when they are using online learning management systems. So again, how can we bridge this gap? How can we bring up this number from 57 to upwards of 90, where students feel like they know what is expected of them? There's a couple different ways we can do that. One of which is syllabus. So helping them with the syllabus is a great way to, so in this case, for instructors, to tell them about why they should have the syllabus and why they should use these tools. Now, another way is to target selected users for outreach. In this case, understanding how what is expected of a student. We want to make sure that we're informing them of what's happening. A great way to do that within Moodle is to use the calendar tool. And in this case, we see the usage of the calendar tool. It's not very high. So what can we do? We can actually create a message about helping students understand deadlines or helping them understand the events that are happening in their university. In this case, you see this example of a message that we've created to help instructors understand why they should use the calendar tool, and then with another link to a support article around how to use this calendar tool. So in this case, this is a great way to make sure that instructors know why they should use this tool, but also for students, we can place a similar message about the fact that they need to check this calendar in order to be up to date with what's happening. Another great way to set clear expectations is to support users through new tool adoption. So if you just started using Moodle, for example, a student of yours may be having trouble understanding how to use that. Well, in this case, here's an example of our support dashboard where they can access information about how to use certain tools, in this case, lessons. So another great way of understanding what is expected of our students. Here again, we're looking at another example of an easy message, and this time it's all about rubrics. So rubrics is a great way for our instructors to help students understand how they're grading them. And of course, the student wants to be able to get a good grade. And how do you achieve a good grade if you don't know what you're being graded on? In this case, our instructors, it's really essential that they add rubrics, or at least add some way of communicating to their students what's important, what are they being graded on, so that they can actually fulfill these criteria. So use rubrics, basically. In this case, here's a message showing how to use rubrics and why they should use rubrics. Now, here is another insight from the Wiley Education Survey all around feedback on assignments. So I remember back in my student days when I would use the online learning management system. Once you submit an assignment, or when you submit something and you don't hear back for a while, you get a bit demotivated, you get a bit maybe anxious with the results of your quiz or your assignment or whatever you may have submitted. In this case, faculty members believe, 86% of faculty members believe that they are providing timely feedback on assignments, whereas only 60% of students felt like they got feedback in a timely manner on their assignments or documents that they submitted. So here, 26% gap between how the students perceive things versus the faculty members. So obviously, it's important that the faculty members provide timely feedback to their students. And one of the ways that they can do that is by using rubrics, because it allows you to grade faster, which means that you're able to submit feedback faster as well, if you know what you're grading. In this case, here's an example of that message that I showed earlier, here in more detail around what is rubrics, why they should use it, and more importantly, how they should use it. Now, this message is displayed on the rubrics tool so that directly when they access this tool, they understand how to use it and they understand what the implications are. So this is a great way to provide even more timely feedback to our students. Another great way is an example like this. Some institutions that we work with have policies on how quickly their instructors need to provide feedback. In this case, we can communicate those protocols or those policies via a message like this, basically reminding our instructors that they need to provide this feedback within a certain amount of working days in order to help their students understand what grades they got, or in general, the feedback. So here's a great reminder about that, just a way to facilitate this process again. And as you can see here, there's no quick fix. There's no quick fix to creating world-class online environments. It's really a lot of small efforts that can add up in terms of these little policies, these things that allow an institution to really scale, but also create a culture where the online learning is a major focus, and it's done very effectively. So another insight we want to take a look at is the online presence of instructors. So are they active online? One of the common things we hear actually from our Filipino institutions, LSU, JRU, UST, are that their instructors don't really like to use the online systems that much. Maybe they feel more comfortable with the traditional paper style. Unfortunately, that's just not the case anymore. We really need to be online, and that is essential given all the COVID situations. We can't really be handing out papers anymore. We need to do things online. In this case, the question is, the students, I felt my instructors are actively involved in learning online, and from faculty that they feel like they're actively involved in learning online. And here there's less of a gap, but I think the more concerning thing is the fact that 40% of students almost felt like their instructors are not active in online learning, and 30% of faculty members feel like they're not either. So how can we make sure that instructors are engaging with their online systems, with their Moodle system that we're investing a lot of time and effort in? Well, we can do things like creating announcements or messages like this. So making sure that our instructors are engaged with the online system so that their students also know that they're up to date. They know what's going on and they're using these systems. Of course, if there's no information from our instructors, then how can we expect the students to also be active online? In some ways, it needs to come from the instructors. The instructors need to be active online, and that in turn will kind of not necessarily force, but it'll really encourage our students to also be active online. And the last thing, so this is a different study, but in this study, it was all about e-readiness and perception of teachers towards online learning in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think everybody who may be watching this online, everybody involved in teaching nowadays understands how much of an impact the COVID-19 had on teaching in general, teaching and learning in general. There was a boom in online learning, and of course, due to restrictions, there's zero face-to-face almost. In this case, the question is, are your instructors prepared to give online exams, online assessments? 50% think they're not ready to give online assignment tests. 85% can prepare assignments online, and 83% are familiar with submitting online assignments. So there's definitely a gap here. 50% are not ready to give online assignments. 15%, which is about 1 in 10 almost, or 2 in 10 even, of instructors can't prepare online assignments, and even less are familiar with submitting online assignments. So again, how can we bridge this gap? How can we increase the usage so that we can create systems online that are really effective and that are really all-encompassing in terms of, instructors are ready to do these things, they're excited, they're motivated. We can help them understand how to deliver exams and assignments online. In this case, here's an example of a quiz, of our message all around quizzes. Now, the quiz tool within Moodle is really powerful, and it's a great way to facilitate learning online, to make sure that students are, doing the things they need to do. And it's a great way for us as admins, as instructors, to understand where our students are at. So here, a great example is quizzes. So promoting the usage of quizzes and promoting the not only why, but the how as well. So how you should use it and why. Now we can also help students understand, let's say they need to, for all of you institutions out there who might use something like Respondus Lockdown Browser or any other online assessment tool, a lot of the times they have some sort of specific configuration. In this case, we can disseminate that information or communicate that information to our students and faculty members through a message like this. So this is a great example in this case of telling an institution or an instructor, how and what's going to happen when they use this third-party tool, Respondus Lockdown Browser. So to kind of wrap up the presentation side of things, this is the study, again, the study that we just examined. Their conclusion, one of their conclusions was the majority of faculty members of teacher education institutes do not possess technological, pedagogical content knowledge, which is an important determinant of online learning. Therefore, all faculty members may be oriented in the techno-pedagogical skills so that they can take online classes effectively. Basically, they found that faculty members need to have this online orientation towards how do they use their LMS and how do they combine this technological usage of their LMS with their pedagogical skills so that they can deliver on both fronts, not only the tech side, but also the tech side with the teaching side. So I think this is a great area where we can help with. Now, again, do we need to improve the LMS utilization? Do you believe that faculty members and students are fully utilize the LMS and third-party tools? This is our study. We asked this question, and the answer, the majority, is no. So again, we want to make sure that they are using this. So that ends my presentation bit. Now, I would love to show you guys actually what our solutions look like. Let me go ahead and share this time the actual platform. What do we do? What does it look like in the application? That's, of course, way more important than my presentation, because that's all talk. What does it look like? What does this actually look like in the Moodle environment? Well, we are really excited to partner up with Nafila Web and provide our solutions on the Moodle environment. You may be seeing some of these messages pop up while you're navigating within the Moodle environment. Not yet, but in the future. But for now, let me take you through a demo environment of our Moodle and show you what these messages would look like. So here we have a message welcoming our participants to the Moodle PH event. What's great here is that we also provide a link where if you're interested in learning more about the speakers and schedule, you can just simply click here and it will pop up within our support dashboard. I mentioned our support dashboard. I also mentioned our messages. So that's an example of a message. Now, looking at our support dashboard, this is an example of a support articles within our dashboard. Here we have a list of the speakers that will be showing up. So that's our support dashboard. That's an example of a message. What's really great about these messages as well is that we can vote up and down. So in the case that you're using one of these messages to promote the usage of the tool, an instructor or student can say, hey, this is helpful, great. And we'll get this feedback fed into our dashboard. They can also, almost more importantly, give negative feedback, because of course, it's always great to hear positives, but the negatives are really where we can make big improvements. We can say, in this case, they can simply say, has incorrect information, it's not relevant, it's not clear enough. You can also leave written feedback if they wish. So that's called a pop-up message. It's kind of the most intrusive message that we have, where it really pops up and takes over the screen. They have to exit out in order to get to their LMS. Here's another example of a message. And this is actually another quick example from one of our partner institutions where they're welcoming their instructors to Moodle. And they're doing this with a video, which they can play directly within the Moodle environment. This is a really great way to, in this case, welcome institutions, but it's also a really great way to disseminate or communicate essential information for just how to use a tool. Say there's a lockdown or something like that. We can use this kind of pop-up message to really inform our users about that. Here we have a schedule of events, so we can see the schedule, and we can also provide links within these messages in order to provide extra information. That can be really useful as well. This is the example I showed earlier, so using video on Moodle, and communicates why they should use video. Also, we have a link here which takes us to the Moodle page around how to use video and why. So that's a couple examples. I want to take us through a couple more examples before jumping into our EesySoft dashboard. This is all about using video in Moodle. Let's actually go to the forums page first. I want to do that. So forums are, of course, but what is forum activity? In this case, I made this message specifically for this event, all around how to use forums with a video, a very large video that instructors can play right from within here so that they can understand how, why, what is forums. And then they can actually apply those principles directly to the LMS. We also have a little bit of text here, a little bit of information about what is forums and how they should use it. So that is our forums page. Let's go to my courses. Let's jump into biology external demo. This is, of course, a demo example. In this case, mandatory videos. So video lectures are really important for a lot of institutions. They want to make sure that their instructors are uploading the video lectures. In this case, we have a message which shows the two different third-party applications that an institution may utilize. And it has links to both of these options so that an instructor can, from here, click directly into one of these and understand how to use their video lecturing system. Now, if you don't see your video lectures, now this is more for students. If they don't see it, they need to contact their lecturer, not the support desk. However, if they want to escalate a support desk ticket, they can do that by clicking here. This will take them to our support dashboard. As you can see, it automatically selects chat activity. And in this case, they can just go directly to the escalation options, email or calling. They can email, and this can be integrated into your support ticketing system via email, but it can also be configured so that it goes to a specific email for this role or for this, whoever the person is that is accessing this. So that is, and then here's a great example as well of something that's been really effective so far in promoting certain tools is training sessions. So I'm guessing for the most part, a lot of your institutions do training sessions. Well, we can actually promote those by using this easy messaging. They can sign up from this message itself. So they can use a link. You can also embed different iframe applications such as Calendly, Google Forms, things like that, so that we can actually have more options in terms of what a user can do within the message. So that's a couple of examples of what the user would see. The user would see the messages, the user would see the support dashboard, but what can our admins see? What can we help our upper management with so that they understand the usage of the tools? So let me stop sharing, and then we'll go ahead and share a different screen, which will be our support dashboard. So I'm here, and I will go into our EesySoft dashboard. This is only for the admins of our institution. And you can see here we have tool adoption reports. So this is all about the different tools that are being used within our LMS. You can actually view this as actual numbers. So let me go ahead and relog in here. And we'll jump into the tool adoption dashboard, which has different reports or different usage data on the tools within our system. So as we can see here, we have a lot of different tools around assessment, collaboration, communication, content, course management, site management, users management. Basically, we collect all the different data around tools being used. So from here, we can actually look specifically at assignments. And of course, we have tools within these tools, adding assignments, viewing assignments, editing assignments, and we can look into each one of these tools specifically. So these are all basically looking at whether or not instructors are editing assignments, viewing assignments, anything of that sort. From here, I mentioned, so this is the reporting. This is understanding what's happening in our system right now. Now, how do we take action on this? How can we actually increase the usage, increase how many instructors are viewing assignments, for example? We can create a campaign. This is where I mentioned about ROI. You can create a campaign around non-active users. So everybody who hasn't used this view assignment, we can say, we want to increase the usage of view assignments, the view assignments tool. You can target an audience. So in this case, we already have a specific target audience. We can also add individuals. Let's say myself, Adam. For now, let's just go with the pre-selected tool, which is users who haven't been using this view assignments tool in the last 3 months. And then we can also set some goals in terms of our usage. So let's say we want 100% usage, then we can do that. But for now, let's leave that blank. We create this campaign so we can have a goal in mind. Of course, here's our goal. Our goal is to increase the usage of the view assignments tool. And we have a couple different configurations of our system. We have our outcomes. So in this case, our goals in regards to the number of people, how much do we want to increase the usage by. And then we also have help items and support center nodes. So help items refers to our messages. Support center nodes refers to the support articles that we are going to target this specific group with in order to help them understand how to use this tool. So we can add help items. We can add those messages, for example. So add existing messages. Let me just take this as an example. So we can add messages like the ones I showed you within our support dashboard. And we can simply start the campaign here. What we can also do here, and this is really where we have that ROI, is we can add events. So in this case, we can add an event such as workshop on assignments. And let's say we did that 3 weeks ago. Now here, this event will be logged into our usage dashboard. And as we move forward in time, as we see more users of this tool, we can actually see this line increasing or progressing. And that is really what tells us if our efforts are effective or not in engaging these users. So that's all around the ROI. So here we can say, okay, if we did this workshop and we added a message, let's say we added an easy message, on assignments. We did that, we deployed that 2 weeks ago. We can actually start logging this data in so we can see, okay, is it increasing? If it is, great, let's do more of that. If it's not, we have to understand why. We can do that with our assignments, with our insights tool or reporting dashboard, or we can actually reach out to specific users. So we can actually download the user count and reach out to them via message or even email, if that is, or both. So that's campaigns. It's a great way to measure the ROI on our efforts in regards to the things that we want to achieve at our institution. Now let's take it into our messages. Here is all the messages. Now let's go back to our Moodle environment, our demo Moodle environment. And we'll take you through messages and support. And please, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will make sure to get to them in the last 5 minutes. That gives me 3 more minutes to show you guys our solution. So here's all the messages that we have. As you can see, they're assigned to certain campaigns. We can create tags for them so that we can organize these. And we also have insights. We have data on our messages. Who's seeing them? Are they clicking on the links, for example? Are they voting up and down on these messages? We also have message rating, as you can see here. Are they voting up and down? And comments. So all of this information and data is fed into our EesySoft dashboard. The last bit of our solutions that I want to show you. So we've looked at our reporting, the way that we understand how users are using this tool. We looked at our messaging and how we can use messages to promote certain tools, to do things like communicate deadlines or communicate tool how-tos, things like that. We looked at campaigns in terms of how to see our ROI on our efforts. Last, let's look at support. How do we provide great support for our students and faculty members? They want it so that they want to use these tools. Here we have all of our support articles. So let's jump into one of our support articles. You saw an example before. What does it look like here within our EasySoft support dashboard? So here, the other great thing is we can integrate, in this case, it's a PDF. We also have article insights. So this is all around the usage and the data we're gaining from the support articles. Now you can see that we have 0 comments, 0 feedback, but in the case that this is all a demo environment, so it doesn't really have too much data, but when you're using this at an institution, all of these support articles, you'll be able to see how many are using them and what's the response like. Are people commenting? Are people downvoting? That can be really, really useful in helping us understand how to use these tools. As you can see here, we've also integrated a training form. They can actually click on different buttons to enroll into these specific training workshops. This, I believe, is an iframe integration. And as we have some different things. So is it published? Is it visible? Who is it assigned to? Where in the LMS is it connected to? And then article insights. Are people viewing it? Are people giving feedback or leaving comments? This is all about our support center. And as you can see, we have data on specific support articles. We also have this page, which is more general around, our support center article health. So are people viewing it? Are people rating it? How much are people using the support button? And are people escalating support requests with that calling or email form? Another really useful thing is understanding which pages have the most support requests. This can help us streamline and make our support center even more efficient. What's really great as well is that we give this customizability to our support center. We can actually arrange the articles within our support center in order to provide the most relevant for your institution. So simply dragging and dropping these different support articles will allow us to arrange them for the way that we want to display it within our support dashboard. Last 2 points I want to make are all around the design. So in this case, we actually have options in terms of designing the escalation of support, and we have options in terms of routing. So support routing, all of you support people, we can actually create custom routing options for different support requests. So all students' support requests will go to one department, all instructor support requests will go to another one. So that's the support center. Now, just to take it back to my final point. Thank you all so much for joining me today. To all of those in the audience on Facebook, on YouTube, please feel free to reach out to me directly, adam@eesysoft.com for more information. Otherwise, I also highly recommend you to get in touch with your Nafila Web representative, talk to them about how EesySoft could be relevant for your institution, and we'd love to hear more from you. That wraps up my presentation. Thank you all so much for joining me, and please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. Sorry. Thank you very much, Adam. We got a couple of questions. Yes. So
Hey.
yes, hello, Adam. So most of us are focusing more on the reports and the analytics of our students' usage and their behavior, perception, and response towards a course, its content, and the questions in the quizzes, assignments, or survey. That we are forgetting that the reports and analytics for the usage of the tools inside the LMS is important as well. So through EesySoft, schools and companies will be able to utilize their LMS at its full capability, as the admins and the owners will be able to know which tools are being used the most and which tools are not. So to our participants, please share with us your thoughts and of course your questions through the comment box, and we will do our best to address them all within the time left. So we got a couple of questions. So can we we can also view the user's usage of plugins installed in the LMS, right, Adam?
Yes, so third-party tools, we are able to actually measure those as well. And we do that by creating custom monitors. So basically, little boxes around the HTML elements that basically trigger when it's being interacted with. So yes, we can definitely measure the usage of third-party tools. Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. Can does EesySoft record or track all the activities that the admins, the teachers, and the students are doing and accessing within the LMS? Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, so how our system works is that it's really a set of monitors. So it's like a bunch of little boxes around these elements, and we're able to understand the role of certain users. So we can say, okay, this user logged in as a student, therefore they are within our dashboard, they would be under our students, and they access certain pages, they triggered certain links, and basically that's how we track it. So the answer to the question is basically yes, we do track and measure the usage of this.
Okay. And can we filter the reports to be viewed? I mean, can we filter it through per tool or per user?
Definitely. So I showed the example of kind of per tool more. So diving into certain tools. The question that we see a lot is who's using it versus who's not. Now that's one use case. The other use case is like you said, can we filter it per user role or per tool? So yes, the answer is yes to both. We can definitely filter it by user, so instructors only or maybe students only. That's definitely a great use case that we've seen a lot of institutions utilize EesySoft for.
Okay, that's great. So we got a question from A. Serna from our YouTube live. Are there user management in the portal? The admin and teacher has different view.
Great question. Who is that from?
From A. Serna from our YouTube live.
Acerna.
Yes.
Hi, Acerna. Thank you so much for your question. Can admins, so usually how it works, so you saw the dashboard, and the dashboard is really for admins of EesySoft. So that might be the ed tech team, the support team, maybe some higher ups within the management. Now, with certain LMSs, we're able to actually give these reports for teachers. The real question is how can we configure that? So it really will depend on your system, but yeah, that's kind of the short answer. If you're interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out to me at adam@eesysoft.com. I would love to show you exactly how we could do that for your institution.
Thank you, Adam. And from Acer na again. So is that up like a Moodle plugin?
Sorry?
Is this set up like a Moodle plugin?
Exactly, yeah. So we set it up via Moodle plugin. The setup, lucky for us, is very simple, and it actually doesn't increase the lag time or the load time to your institution. That's something that's really important, especially here in the Philippines, where internet connectivity is quite an issue. This doesn't add any lag or load to your system. It's a very lightweight JavaScript file. Or, actually, I'll take that back. I'm not sure if it's a JavaScript file that we use for specifically Moodle, but I know that it's a lightweight integration that doesn't increase the load or lag time.
Okay, so that's noted, and that's great. So will it only be the admins and the teachers who can access and see the reports?
Yeah, so usually it really depends. So usually it's the admins and it's the admins of our, the heads of our ed tech teams or whatever. Those are usually the ones that this is most relevant for. Now, we've seen a lot of institutions generate reports specifically for different courses, for different, let's say, users or course roles. So that might be teaching assistants, instructors, first year students, first year instructors. So we can kind of configure that. The real question is the use case. So what is this going to be? What's the goal in this, having this in mind? At the end of the day, how we view this is it's an institution's data. It's not EeasySoft data. It's really for your institution. This solution should help your institution. So whatever we can do to facilitate that is where we like to orient ourselves with.
Okay, thank you for that. And another question from our FB Live from Noronisa Bakar, Miss Noronisa Bakar. So what are the factors for learners in using technology even though we are in a pandemic? Do you think the teaching method in using technology is effective?
Ooh, Noronisa, great question. Well, I mean, it's a great question because in fact there's a lot of personally I love to learn in person, face to face. That's how I learn. That's how I like to engage with other people. I really believe that we are social animals. We're social people. It helps when you have somebody right there. Unfortunately, how the world is right now is that we can't do that. So we need to do our best with what we have. And lucky for us, we have a great system, Moodle. We have a great system that can really be used to facilitate this learning online and made even more effective with tools such as EeasySoft. So it kind of comes out of a necessity, but in fact, a lot of the institutions we work with have been able to deliver seriously world-class online teaching and learning. It even amazes me sometimes how robust their systems are. Making sure that all students understand how to use the tools, how to submit certain assignments. So I really think it is essential, and I think it can be done in such a great way. I myself, I use a lot of online systems to learn. Khan Academy. I use, of course, YouTube. So it's all about how do we create the best environments that we can learn on and that we can engage other people while we can. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that soon face-to-face classes will go online, but up until then, we need to work with what we have, and it can't. This pandemic can't slow us down. We need to continue moving forward and doing the things we need to do.
Yes, thank you for that great answer and insight. So another question from our YouTube live from Mr. Ryan Juarez. So when the client is using the EeasySoft messages, are the messages directly sent to the client, or I think this is also applied for support?
Sure. So hi Ryan, thank you for the great question. So when we deploy a message, how it works is this message will be deployed to specific user groups or to really whoever we want. As a LMS admin or as the person utilizing EeasySoft, when we deploy a message, it's targeted to the specific individuals that we want to target. For example, now if an instructor, let's say, is already using the Moodle platform to their highest ability, then that's it. We don't really need to do too much. On the other hand, if they're not, then we need to deploy certain messages. We need to be able to communicate to them how and why. That's where EeasySoft comes in. Emailing is a great option, but it doesn't always work that well. A lot of emails get flooded. Text messaging is also a great option. Facebook is a great option. All of these communication channels are great options, but at the end of the day, these functions are all done on the LMS. So what better place to communicate than within the LMS? That's kind of how we see things. I hope that answered the question, Ryan. So thank you, great question.
Yes. So I see that we can place custom messages using EeasySoft anywhere in the LMS. So for example, there is a course that should be taken by the students yearly. Is it possible to schedule an automatic message which will pop up yearly to remind them to take the course? So is it possible to schedule that pop-up message?
Definitely. We have a lot of, we have scheduling options where we can basically time a message. Let's say we want to schedule a message for a particular date. Holy Week is coming up. let's say we want to deploy a message around what are the precautions or what are the protocols for this Holy Week, or the saying what's happening with our university during this week. We can actually create a message now and schedule that for whenever the date comes, so that you don't need to do anymore. You just leave it and it'll deploy when the time is right. So the answer is yes.
And we can also set the expiration date for that message. I mean, when to turn it off.
Exactly. Definitely, yeah.
And can we, for the support, the UI for the support, do the schools or do our clients need to set the questions and the articles first before it appears on the student's view?
So another great question. We actually have all of the out-of-the-box support help directly from Moodle integrated within our support dashboard, so that from the get-go, as soon as you integrate, you don't need to do anything. It's there, it's ready. But let's say your institution has specific information or specific support items, you can actually integrate those so that it's for your institution.
Okay, thanks for that, Adam. And another question from our FB Live from Po21. Is EesySoft safe to use when conducting an online learning? Is this free to log in?
So you'll be able to see some of our messages and our support articles on the Moodle environment. We offer kind of technical validations of our solutions. So basically, if you're from an institution and you say, hey, we would love to try this, we can actually facilitate that experience. But out of the box, to access our solutions, you would need to come talk to us, or of course talk to your NafilaWeb representative as well, and we can kind of facilitate that. So you can see the user-facing side, which is like the messages, the support articles. If you want to see more of the back end, come talk to me, Adam@eesysoft.com.
So Mr. Po, I hope you take note of that, and thank you for another one from our FB Live from Fredly Chong Tangeres. In your private message, can you attach files?
Definitely, yeah. That's actually one of the major use cases. So so private messages. So I guess that refers to our easy messages. This is the messages that appear within our LMS. That is really where we can do a lot of fun stuff. You can integrate and embed iframe applications. So that can be Google Forms, for example. That can be Calendly. That can be videos, images, links to certain things. Really, if you have a use case in mind, if you're saying to yourself, well, we really need to include this link. Let's say they need to sign a form, or we can basically embed that and facilitate that process. So it really depends on your use case. The simple answer, yes, we can definitely attach videos, images, embedding, whatever, and what have you.
Yeah, that's really, really amazing. So for our audience in Facebook and YouTube Live, please comment your questions, and we will read our last two questions. So when it comes to migration, so let's say if a client wants to switch from their previous LMS to a new LMS, can the reports from their previous LMS be downloaded? And what are the types of file is it available?
So when it comes to downloading the data, we offer, I'm not sure actually, we need to check. The real key there, and I feel like the kind of the question in terms of kind of the core of the question is all around migration. So migration is a very challenging process for a lot of institutions. You're moving from one system with one way of doing things to a completely new system, all new tools. Of course, change is hard, but it's one of those necessities. I think everybody changed during this pandemic. Institutions, the individuals, we all changed. Now, when it comes to migration, the great thing that we can provide is this kind of usage data where Maybe you can't download it, but you can view it within our dashboard, which allows you to actually see the gaps in our usage. We can say, let's say we migrate from one tool that has a video conferencing platform to Moodle that has a video conferencing platform. We can see who's using the one on the old system. We can actually message those who are using it on the old system and say, hey guys, we're moving to a new system. Here's how it works. We want to tell you because we're going to move in 2 weeks. Those who aren't using the system, you can say, hey guys, we're moving to a new system and you're going to need to use this video solution on our new system. Here's how it works. On the flip side, once they're on that new system, we can actually monitor their usage on the new system and say, okay, everybody who's using it already, good for you guys, but everybody who's not, we're going to give them a message about how and why they should use it on their new system.
Okay, so that's amazing. That's great. Thank you, Adam. And does this from Mr. Ryan Cars again? Does this plugin collect sensitive data from our users? If it is, how do you protect those data?
Ryan, great question again. So, does it collect sensitive information? I guess in some ways you can say it doesn't really, because this is all usage data in terms of the online system, which they're already kind of they're already consenting to when they access this system online. Now the flip side of that, and we are very cautious when it comes to data security, data usage. Our company is Amsterdam based, so European based, which means we comply with the GDPR. However, we also take the highest level of standards when it comes to data security. We use Amazon Web Services as our hosting platform, which allows us to protect against any hacking or anything of that sort, as the cloud infrastructure allows us to kind of protect ourselves in that way. So, that's a really great question that we hear a lot. Ryan, I would be happy to send you any documentation, any information around our GDPR or data security compliancy documents if you would like, or if you would be interested.
Yes, and yes, thank you, Adam, for that answer. And that's great. So, last question from on behalf of the audience, because I believe they are curious about it. How much is the pricing for EesySoft?
So, great question again. Pricing is all based on our user band. I'm not sure if it's the same for you guys, Moodle, but basically how it works is, let's say you have 15,000 students. Your price is going to be, of course, lower than the institution that has 50,000 students. So it really depends on that. I would be happy to send anyone on this call or anyone on this meeting pricing information. I just need to understand your user band. So again, Adam@eesysoft.com. Feel free to send me an email saying, hey, I saw your presentation. Here's how many users we have. What are we looking at in terms of cost? And I'd be happy to provide that.
Thank you very much for that. So anyone who would be interested to for the EesySoft pricing, so please reach out to us or to Adam directly through his email or through our email, and we can work on that from that. So you, I guess. Yes. So again, thank you very much, Adam, for a very informative webinar. And again, I am encouraging everyone to please visit our Mood PH21 site. You may find the link on YouTube and Facebook Live comment box. And please register and join the courses so you will be able to earn Moodle Peso coins, which are being used to exchange rewards and exciting prizes. So aside from that, in the course, so when you register, you can join the EesySoft course, and you will be able to raise questions there, and you will get support from Adam and his team. Plus, you will be able to earn coins by doing so. So I think that's it. So thank you very, very, very much, Adam, for a very informative webinar. And thank you everyone for joining us today via Facebook and YouTube Live. Please don't forget to sign up for Mood PH21. We hope to see you there, and we hope to see you on our next webinars.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Nafila Webb. Thank you, Herschel. Pleasure to see you again. thanks everyone for the great questions, and hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Sir Adam, and it is our pleasure to see you again as well. So,
Thank you. Bye.
bye, Sir Adam, and everyone. Hope to see you again.
Bye.